Abduction, Chapter 5, Part 1. Echo seemed to be her happiest with me since our arrival back home from Belarus. There was a lift on her walk and a song on her lips the majority of the afternoon since we left Masha Ivanovna's office. I know the reason for this behavior change. She must have felt that for the first time since our misadventure in the exclusion zone, we were together working for the same cause. Although I was reluctant to get involved, I knew I couldn't let Echo go it alone. She needed my help to keep her out of trouble. Who was I kidding? We had always been partners in crime since college. The only time we spent apart since our university days was when we split and went our separate ways. She left for a job overseas, and I left for the most prolonged drinking binge of my life. It was a little past 11 o'clock when we arrived at the farmer's field. We arrived in pitch blackness. Tatiana told us that many of the locals would come out to the outskirts of Lutsk to get a better view of the strange light anomaly. I had to admit it was a perfect spot to look at the stars. The pasture view was devoid of any city lights, for the most part, giving a person a panoramic view of all the celestial bodies. Even though Echo and I were waiting for something to happen in the skies, I felt at peace. Echo was happy and not nagging at me for a change. I would like to have this harmony between us all the time, but I am not sure how long I can keep this ruse going. Sooner or later, this adventure will end, and I had to wonder where it would leave us. "How long should we wait?" asked Echo as she passively sat in the seat next to me. I peered out the window at the stars, not caring if the strange light never arrived. Stargazing was enough for me, albeit it was cold in the car. This adventure would have been better during any other season except winter. But you have to play with the cards you are dealt. "I say we stay for a few hours if necessary," I replied. "Unfortunately, you can't put a UFO on a schedule. That would just make this caper too easy." Echo laughed at my sarcasm. "Right? We will probably freeze to death before they get here, and the local policemen will find our frozen bodies huddled in the back seat for warmth." I looked over at Echo and she was smiling. Apparently, she must be thinking the same thing I was thinking. If the aliens don't show up soon, we just might have to resort to survival techniques if we're going to keep this stakeout going for hours. Or I could turn on the car and let the heater run for a bit. I would say yes to us hopping in the back seat and making out like teenagers again, but there is a car coming, muttered Echo. We both sat and watched as a set of bouncing lights were coming toward us. A Mercedes approached and parked alongside of the road about 20 meters from us. Whoever was in the car was probably coming to wait for the light show like us. A man got out of the car and looked at us before taking out a pair of binoculars to begin to scan the horizon. It was challenging to be sure, but the man appeared to be in his late 20s. This was just a guess because it was too damn dark out, but the man stood like a European 20-year-old would, strong on his feet and confident about himself. Not to mention he was dressed in blue jeans and a leather jacket. Only a 20-something-year-old would be crazy enough to wear only leather on a sub-zero night. "Thank you for taking a chance and agreeing to do an interview in exchange for names and addresses of people that had first-hand knowledge of being abducted," said Echo. "I never would have guessed that you had it in you to do it. You have been so hesitant to do anything since you returned back to the States from Belarus." "I felt I had to do something or you were going to have Ivanovna's head," I muttered. "We don't need to bring unwanted attention to us. I know Belarus is in the past, but I don't want to take any chances that we do not end up on somebody's watch list." Echo rolled her eyes. "We are not on anyone's watch list. They wouldn't care less what we do as long as we don't make anyone in the government look bad." The only person I could talk to about my experience was Echo, and not to anyone else. Even my recent agreement to speak to the reporter, Masha Ivanovna, had caveats that went with it. My time in Belarus was an experience that brought Echo and me back together. Still, it was still a point of contention between us as well. I am happy to relive through the ordeal, and that's it. Echo wants to be free to talk about it, and I want to bury that escapade into dark recesses of my mind. Forever forgotten till the day I die. "Okay, but we need to be careful what we say in the interview with Ivanovna," I muttered. "I don't trust that woman. I have a feeling she was hiding something from us." "What makes you say that?" "Call it a hunch." Echo's eyebrows raised. "You're back to trusting your hunches?" "Yeah, I think so," I replied with a short, nervous laugh. At the top of my game, I can rely on my instincts and feel my way through any situation. The vast majority of the time, I would be correct. However, since returning from Belarus, my reactions to things have not been on target most of the time. What I thought were sure deals in the making turned into nightmares with no agreement. But it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that Ivanovna isn't telling us everything she knows.